Okay. I think we join Ishi in some kind of like place of quiet solitude. So we're in the present. We're not back. We're not back in time.
Like the little dojo in the.
Oh, go to the fucking garden.
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about?
No.
Welcome to fucking garden.
I'm going to be in the dojo in the.
It's the Olive Garden in Daytona.
Residence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So are you meditating?
No, I'm practicing.
All right. So you're going through some kind of kata, possibly, and
Practicing enlightenment by meditating.
yeah. Practicing piano. All right.
Pull it out of the water.
So you are kind of doing this. You run through this routine, and we maybe like watch Ishi do this a few times. We have a lot more like kind of close-ups on your face to see that indeed this is the you of the present, where we see he has a few more lines on his face, or maybe he has like a few gray hairs here and there. And you hear kind of a raspy voice that doesn't have it has an urgency and it has a drive, but a lot of its vibrance seems to have been taken away. And you hear the voice say, Hida Ishi.
Look around, is there anybody here?
And if you turn, you see the sunken, ultra pasty form of Matsu Fukushu. And she says,
this poor demon's dying.
yeah, she says, why haven't you summoned me? I want justice, Hida Ishi. The justice you promised me.
You may not see this justice in your lifetime. Do demons have lifetimes? I'm going to go within your lifetime. I don't know how long demons live. I don't know what the demon thinks. She looks pretty shitty though, so I'm going to go with that.
And she says, like, I crawled my way back here. I crawled through hell to get back here to find this justice.
If you truly want this justice, you must trust me in order to carry it out.
And she says,
Things are not simple, nor do they happen quickly in this cursed city.
and she says, I need to be brought into this world, Hida Ishi. My grip is slipping, and you've not fulfilled your promise.
Rather one-sided this whole time.
I'll help you under.
Must have been,
Good.
it seems to have been wrong of me to promise someone else's actions.
I don't even know anything about this.
Yeah, perhaps it was wrong of me to promise another. Don't laugh. This is me putting off some of this demon for another episode. Come on. Yeah, I don't know. Does she have a response to me saying that? Other than like,
Ooh. And she says, she basically just says like, I thought you were a man of your word, Ishi. I thought you were a man of honor and duty. That's why I came to you. I thought you were a great warrior.
a general charging onto the battlefield will only kill his soldiers. I've learned this in my life. So this is something that takes time and persistence. Your time, this world will come when it is necessary.
Ooh. Go and make a...
Some shit. Some shit. I'm prepared.
I feel like this roll is going to be... Go ahead and make a bold roll.
Ew.
Bold roll. Yeah, there's going to be more of these than I want in this game.
So
But
one.
It's not bad.
Bold is
Yeah.
not high.
I thought he was going to make you do a void roll.
Yeah, I was
Probably
like,
better.
I was like, so please God,
Nine?
no. Yep.
all right, so we got a 9. 8 plus 1, 9. Yeah.
That's like, please not one.
All right. So she kind of like looks at you, and you see like her sunken eyes, and you know that she does not have much more time left. You kind of look at her and you see that she's not a demon. She's a ghost. And when she says that she...
I remember her being a demon.
When she says that she came through hell...
Okay, so
you remember...
So I've been talking to two different institutions. What a shit show.
So, no...
Has she ever been close to a horse?
Because I remember very specifically the first one being very into blood and me being like, yeah, that's definitely some kind of demon thing going on.
Absolutely. So you...
This was
I mean, you're a warrior, so like your indoctrination into this stuff might have been smaller, like lesser. Mm-hmm. But you can remember. I think you have like a brief flashback of when you were almost much younger,
Oh, jeez.
and like a grandfather or somebody like that, or a grandmother, someone very old is telling stories about ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about how the Gaki, the hungry dead, live in a world not too far from hell, from Jigoku, and sometimes will cross through it to get back into our world.
Jeez.
And because they have some almost unfinished business, but it's usually much more like sinister or negative or violent.
Yeah.
They hunger for something that they were not able to like be at peace with when they died, and so they try to come back for that. So you remember hearing that story, and so you can tell that some of her
memory's getting shoddy. I wish I remembered this earlier.
some of like the aspects of her that seem tainted are because she is in part tainted, but coming through Jigoku, and so it kind of has that.
She's not a real demon.
Yeah, she's a ghost. Could you make a face roll for me?
Do I add anything?
No, so it's just the roll by itself.
Okay, I didn't know if I was taking face damage or if I had to roll it. I was like, wow. Are we supposed to like
Hey,
heal
that's
at
good.
any point? Yeah, that's good.
So you
One of my boxes are ticked.
rolled that real low, right? 4?
Yeah,
5. Okay.
I don't think anything happens, right?
No. Okay, cool. So you're able to kind of like realize this stuff, and
That was the face from me being like, oh, right,
And yeah.
right.
but you remember. Like, that's why she needs Yugure to do something, or she needs some kind of Shigenja or priest to do something to bring her more into this world. And you think to yourself, like, back to that fateful day, and you were like, that kind of makes sense. If she was a demon, she would know that I don't have a name to give her.
We get one.
Only one name, dog. Can only bring one spirit in this world. Apparently not.
And
Spirit
so
/ demon.
I think you kind of like look. I think when you say that line to her about a general that rushes in and how it'll like take this time, I think you kind of stare at her for a long time. You have that kind of vision back to when you were a kid. Yeah, and then I think
this is like.
I think when you come back, like the ghost is gone, and we maybe have like a beat before you kind of continue training again or continue practicing.
A large city surrounded by green walls and acres of poppy fields. A group of monks traveled toward the city, exchanging prayers for whatever alms the poor peasants of the countryside can spare. In the noble quarter, we see a beautiful but imposing palace and a foreign-looking minareted estate. In the temple quarter, we see the glistening white temple of the sun goddess with a 60-foot pole topped by a shimmering golden spear, and the temple of the fortune of wealth with its towering statue of the patron god of the city. Next door, in the merchant quarter, we see busy streets with noisy merchants selling wares from all over Rokugan and beyond. On the other side of the Bay of Drowned Honor, the fisherman's quarter, dirtier with poorer commoners, meaner gangs, and shabby dwellings amid the docks and warehouses. We pass the leather workers' quarter, the home of the Ada, the Untouchables, and the only building of notice there, the city crematorium. Finally, we arrive at Teardrop Island, the license quarter, with its perpetual twilight of hanging lanterns, fine sake and geisha houses. We follow a man in a basket hat as he's beckoned inside by a beautiful geisha. He enters and removes his hat. We see one of the monks from the beginning. Ryoko Owari, City of Lies.
Aji.
My next thing.
What's Aji's game plan? Where do we find him next? This could still be that same day, though it'll definitely be later in the day.
I guess I will report to Yogo Osako.
All right. Go to meet up with Yoko Osako.
Oh, jeez.
It's gonna go well.
Oh, man.
As usual.
This whole crew, except Taiyo, everybody that rules the city hates us.
So
We're like the worst. They're like, hey, could you do this thing for us? Also, you owe me $1 million. Also, like,
I was going to say,
keep
Yoko
poking your
Osako
nose.
doesn't. Yoko Osako can't hate Aji.
No, she can't hate him, but she can be like, the money.
Yeah.
Come on.
So I'll say you get there, and there's somebody who's like, "Oh, just hold on, she'll be back," and then she eventually returns. at some point and says, kind of invites you into her office. Aji-san.
Hello. You, expecting good news?
And she says, news in the city travels very quickly. If there was good news coming my way, I would have heard it.
Yeah. Why do I bother to even talking to people? Just know.
I already know.
Well, as you know, I could not go through what you wanted. I cannot duel someone who was unarmed. Plus, her cause seemed noble and honorable.
And she says, if setting up peasants to inevitably rebel is considered a noble cause, Aji-san, that's...
Was there a huge rebellion when we collected taxes recently?
Yeah.
How long ago was that at this point?
Like months. But yeah, she'll say, if that's a noble cause, Aji-san, then I think my understanding of imperial law is flawed.
When have the dragon been known to incite war? They are a peaceful clan.
She says, I've no quarrel with the dragon clan at all. I simply want to make sure that as an Emerald Magistrate of this city, you're making sure that the threats to public order are kept in check. And as a friend, Aji, I want to make sure that you are held in high esteem as the warrior you are in this city.
Well, do you have some friendly advice? What should I do?
She'll just say, if you can't, she'll say, there have been many instances where samurai enter into duels. Yeah, I'm sure you're a skilled duelist. You know this.
Why is it so important that she fall?
And she'll say, you're in a position to benefit significantly, having debts erased, and making yourself known to be a fine magistrate, excellent swordsman.
Are there other benefits for you or someone else?
And she'll just say, I'm a magistrate as well. Of course I'll want to see the laws upheld and justice done. And if it was to be done by a friend, all the better. Are you trying to read Yogo Osaka?
I try. I usually fail.
Well, 5. Yeah, that is the case here.
I'm just blindly going wherever.
Whenever this man talks to somebody, it's just... he squanders their conversation. I'm so sorry.
You make a good point.
Get some XP?
Oh, yeah. I will try again. I'll make sure I won't fail you again. Friends can't let other friends down when they need them the most.
She says, it's a kind and wise sentiment.
All right. Go back to the dojo?
Do you just go straight back there?
Yeah, why not?
All right. So you head straight back there, and this time I'll say that class is over. And if you get there, there's a servant who basically will tell you, like, oh yeah, there'll be another class tomorrow at such and such time, and that, like, if you're here for that, it'll be tomorrow.
Oh, I'm not here for training. Need to talk with your master. It won't be long.
Ooh, okay. I'll say they bring you into, like, she lives in a fairly modest home that's connected to the dojo or near the dojo. Yeah, I won't say it's on the same exact grounds. It's nearby. And if you go there, you're kind of waiting in a little waiting room, and servants are bringing you this and that. And you wait for a while, but eventually Kitsuki Jotomen, servant, brings you in. There's a small little garden for meditation that she has. It's pretty cramped, and she'll meet you there, and she'll say, hello again, Aji-san.
Hi. How are you this evening or afternoon?
And she says, I'm wondering if you're here seeking the same thing you were before. I have no qualms with your visit, but don't pretend this is merely a social Don't pretend this is merely a social call.
Well, it's not. But I can make it a social call.
What is going on here?
What is going on here?
I told Toan, well, I'm in a particularly bad situation, and that's why I'm here. This needs to be resolved, or I can't go on protecting the city.
And she'll say, is that what you're doing? Protecting this city?
I don't know how to protect the city, but I think my current path is doing it. Are you protecting the city?
And she says, I run a dojo and seek to teach any who are interested about the inner peace that Bushido brings to men's hearts. My role here is not to protect this city, but to train the minds and the spirits, the warriors within, so others may defend the heart of this empire, as our ancestors have done.
Then why does Yogo Osaka want you dead?
Well, and her response to that is simple. Because of what I know and what I can find out. The things that you and your companions have chosen to let fall to the wayside.
And what is that in particular?
She says, do you really want to know?
Yes, if it helps me make my decisions.
Whom do you serve, Kakita Aji?
I serve many masters. Are you asking me who do I serve right now? Or who do I serve at the highest?
And she says, I think you answered my question.
Well, if your information helps me as an Emerald Magistrate, then I would want to know.
Well then, perhaps we should speak with an Emerald Magistrate.
Are you referring to your clansman Ogeie?
She says, yes.
I trust him with my life.
My neck hair is tingling again.
Shave that, please. It's unsightly.
He is very honorable.
Throw my Shugenja power.
The neck hair power.
The neck hair of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
What can Ogeie do? Or how can he help?
And she'll say, I actually have information for him. Why don't we find him?
All right.
This should be fun. For everybody.
Let us go.
Ogeie returns from the Shosuro Gardens, maybe from the temple quarter, with the family kind of in the early evening. You guys kind of get there, and when you arrive, apparently someone's been waiting for you.
Oh.
In your meeting room, the meeting room that you guys share as magistrates, are Aji and the other Dragon Clan samurai you've met in the city, Kitsuki Jotomen.
I'll tell Misaki I apologize. I will have to attend to my duties, unfortunately.
She doesn't seem thrilled.
How old is the dojo lady?
She's in probably her later 30s.
She works out.
True, she does.
How old are you, Gray?
I think almost 30. I feel like I said an age before, and hopefully that's the same one.
Gotcha. I'm trying to picture in my head how much your wife thinks this is the lady now. It's like, the other dragon.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll tell her, look, I'll make it up to you. Unfortunately, my duty to the Emperor means... I'll probably do say that. I don't know.
Go for it.
Duty to the Emperor means not all of my time is my own to do with as I see fit. But when it is my own time to decide, you will be my number one priority.
Oh, yeah, and I think she kind of leaves with a, well, I'm glad to hear that part of you wants to make time for your family.
You guys are a little confused. She said it as a bad thing. I don't... Everyone knows Emperor's first, right?
So,
Emperor's first.
You come in. Again, Kitsuki Jotomen is a woman who's in her mid to late 30s. She's wearing kind of a fairly plain but dark green colored kimono. She has her hair, like a lot of samurai-ko that are more traditional, is very, very long, but it's kind of bound up in a bun in the back of her head. And I'm second-guessing myself now, but I said that if this was a cartoon, she would be voiced by Viola Davis from How to Get Away with Murder. But I don't know. I'm second-guessing that now. But
That's okay,
she's
'cause I
someone
don't
who
know
seems
what
very
that
Yeah, I think you haven't known who any of the people I've mentioned so far are. But the,
Is she Amanda Waller in Suicide Squad? No.
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's a better reference.
There you go. I'm like, what would Andrew know?
So,
Oh, secure right.
so yeah, she's sitting there and she kind of greets you when you come in. Yugure-san?
Hello. I didn't expect to see either of you today.
And she says, well, I've news of the matter I've been investigating.
That is good news.
Excellent. Please take a seat.
He does.
Okay. Yeah, and she kind of stands up. Could you make a bold roll for me?
Bold roll.
That's my favorite one.
I don't think that's...
What do we
I
get?
got a 7.
A 7. Not bad.
You did it out, baby.
All right.
You
So,
did it.
she says, as tasked by our Lord, I have been instructed to investigate the matter of who is responsible, what happened to Miramoto Ogeie, who was found dead,
Oh my god.
who was found dead here on such and such a date, she says. I've spoken with a number of people who knew Ogeie, and I've investigated as much as I could about the particulars. And I've been able to find...
This is all pretty expected for Yugure at the beginning of this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
This is the episode.
How is...
Yeah. And
How's
she says-
everyone else in the room doing?
Yeah. She says, here's what I've been able to find. And here's how I'm going to do that with this roll. So you rolled a 7?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Ooh.
I have 5 cards. Those cards say who, they say what, they say why, they say how, and then one that's not a question, one that says, there's no extra complications. Mm-hmm. So, you get to, with the result of a 7, you get 3 of these cards.
Oh, like, I get to know the answers?
At random.
Yes. No. You can choose the ones that you want.
Roll the dice.
You get 3
Boom.
of these cards. This one, these, there's information on the back. This one means there's no additional complication.
Other than the information.
So meaning,
that's on the back of the other cards.
if you do not take, right, you got a point. That could be an issue. But if you do not take this, there will be some additional complication to this.
Are these, like, clue questions? Like,
She has figured out the answers to these questions.
but what does the what mean specific? Like, is that murder weapon?
You're gonna have to figure that out.
So this isn't clue.
Well, I'm gonna grab who,
All right.
why, and there's no extra complication.
Okay.
Good choice.
All right. So, could you read those to us?
There's no extra complication.
Or should I? Yeah.
Starting with which one?
Which one? Whichever one you want.
Flip it over.
Who did it?
Hello.
Lean Meat the Gambler killed that guy.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh,
Lean
Ogeie.
meat?
Oh, guy.
Oh no. Lean meat.
Why? Ogeie murdered the daughter of a local man to whom Ogeie owed money. All right.
So she'll give you this information. She'll say, Agasha Ogeie was responsible for the murder of a local gambler named Lean Meat's daughter. Ogeie owed him a lot of money,
Oh.
and Ogeie kidnapped and murdered Lean Meat's daughter. Afterwards, Lean Meat killed him.
Got revenge. There's no extra complications. Oh, and this one's blank in the back.
We said that, yeah.
Great news.
Told you. I didn't
So-
kill anybody.
She'll tell you that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Well, that one guy.
And she says, there's no...
Didn't she charge you for that though? Yogo Saka?
What?
She charged him for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still paying for it.
Interesting.
So she tells you that information about Lean Meat and Ogeie, and she'll say, "This is what I found out in my investigation of this. This is the information that Yogo Osaka was attempting to blackmail you into killing me to hide." And she says that to Aji.
That's news to you, Gray. Why would you be blackmailed?
Well, as you know,
Drugs.
I escorted Ogeie throughout the town at
I don't
night.
think I did know that.
But surely you must have heard of our stories. We made 3 movies.
That's true.
I don't think I ever heard of Ogeie until I learned of his death.
Well, either way, I picked up the tab for Ogeie and I had to borrow some money from Ryoko Osako.
That's so close to being true.
Go ahead and make a bold roll for me, Aji.
That's so close to me. It's very... Ooh.
That's a 3.
You're on a roll.
And bold, you kick ass at bold, don't you?
Yeah, I'm a 6.
Okay.
That's amazing. Oh my
So you say that.
That's the only way you could have missed it. If you rolled that.
Ooh.
Get another XP.
You say that, and Kitsuki Jitomen just says, "Look,
Fuck you."
Yeah, she says, "Fuck you, you piece of shit." She just goes on a long rant.
Lying.
She goes on like a weird, and it gets real saucy. No, she I think she kind of sits there almost stone faced. And for a while, and after you've said that, and you almost start to talk, you start to chime in, and she speaks over you and just says, local barkeeps would have been upset about that. And they were certainly not pleased that Ogeie had run up such a high tab. That absolutely is not the reason. Not the thing for which you were being blackmailed by Ryoko Osako. Something was done for you. What was that thing? Because it wasn't simply dealing with a VAR tab. Ooh, and I think you're going to have to take some face damage from that.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to have to take 2 face damage, because in front of one of your trusted buds here, you're very clearly being called out for lying, relating to stuff dealing with the death of one of his clan members.
I didn't know him.
Doesn't matter, dog. All in the clan, baby. I don't think there's another crowd.
There?
I know there are, but don't matter.
He's met with one of them.
I'm inviting him to the party, so you're fucked.
What are we talking about?
The other crab people.
Yeah, like they live here.
Does Yuguri need to know this, Jitomen?
Oh, God. How you take that?
And she says, I've been tasked by my lord with looking into what happened to Miramoto Ogeie. If Yugure-san has an interest in why a local magistrate is attempting to stop that investigation, that sounds like something more connected to imperial law, and therefore, yes, he and your other compatriots as well should certainly know this.
So Taiyo and I roll up.
Hey, dudes.
Drunk.
Yeah.
Aji, why would we need to keep secrets from each other? Wasn't it best if we all work together? There are far darker things in this city than each other. Must be.
You're right. There are some dark things in this city. Things that you shouldn't be involved with.
Whoa.
This is getting good.
I'm protecting you.
If only I had not been tasked with such duties as I have, I could allow myself to stay secluded from the darkness, but this is not among my options.
If you get involved, I can't help you. A bandit, I can take care of. Just like that one day.
But if you leave me out, I can't help you.
This is also true. Well, I hired Ryoko Osako to kill Ogeie. I thought it was best. Because we are in a Scorpion city, we must deal things in a Scorpion way.
Add a character. Did you mean Ogeie?
What?
Or did you mean Magda?
Because
you are talking with a woman who just did an investigation and specifically told you in front of you, this is the person who killed
Could have sworn to
Ogeie.
God, Aji did pay to have him leave town. I could have sworn
He told him to get out of town. He didn't hire Ryoko Osako to do that.
I thought he did too.
I'm 100% sure. He was like, "Hey, Ryoko Osako, I will take on more debt," and that's why he has 9 debt now.
The additional debt came from when he was getting Michitaka out of jail.
Okay,
That was the issue.
Okay.
He did push to get this guy out of town, and even brought it up to Shosuro Hayobu. And their basic thing was oh, if this guy's leaving town, good. That's a good thing.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, they the total of 10 wealth that he owed Ryoko Osako came from a deal to kill Magda, and then to get Narutoki brother Michitaka out of jail.
I forgot that was the second reason.
Right.
All right, sure.
So,
I meant to say Magda.
did you mean... You can go back and say we didn't say that at all.
But there's still something that you're being blackmailed for, right? And you're going to say what it was. So.
Was it not Magda enough?
No. It was just
I'm just trying to get the retcon to the right place.
Yeah.
Oh, you could read him.
I think
No,
You go ahead.
he's coming clean.
No, let
That's
him-
what it kinda
Okay.
sounded like.
Say what he wants to say, and then I'll...
I'll save my average for that.
So, do you say that part then?
Yes, I'll admit.
All right, so give us another take on that one.
So, I've been working with Yoko Asako. More like, I've been asking Yoko Asako for favors. And these favors include murdering Magda and getting my cousin out of jail, Ashidaka. I owe
The one
Yoko Asako.
who scarred you?
Yes.
Who's Magda? Do I know that name from talks of the journal or whatever?
You should. It's in the dossier, page 13, paragraph 3. She used to run the House of Foreign Stories.
Why would you have Yogo Asako kill Magda?
As I was saying earlier, we're in a Scorpion City. I felt it's best to handle things in a Scorpion way.
But what needed to be handled?
Magda was gonna go back to the Crane homelands. I was afraid that my family and my other clansmen might find out that I was with the Gaijin. That is not looked highly upon.
All to save your own face?
It's not honor. Samurai's greatest asset.
No.
No.
Well, that is an investigation for another day, I suppose. Out of character, so if Lean Meat killed Ogeie, Lean Meat being not a samurai, and Ogeie being a samurai, that's real bad for Lean Meat, right? I already said that I would have him arrested.
Right.
I have no intention of backing down from that. But what would his sentence be? Like,
So if
dead meat?
yeah, well, so assuming that he can get, since he's basically, ensuring like a death penalty for him would be very, very easy to do.
Well, so I don't know the character, like, Ugrey doesn't know the character.
Right.
But what he does know about him is that he was getting revenge for his daughter being murdered. So I don't want him to get the death penalty. Is there, or is that just definitely what's going to happen?
You could, I don't think you need to make a roll for this. In the normal situation, that's what would go on in this. Now, if this guy has friends in some way or another, that could change stuff, whether those friends are you or possibly other people. There's also the issue of, do you want to oversee this and kind of push to handle it, or do you want to hand this over to like the local authorities to handle this stuff?
No, I want to arrest him in person and oversee it. I said I would arrest him. I can't just pass that off to somebody else.
Okay.
So, yeah, I want to arrest him. I'm not, like, for sure 100% going to, like, be this guy's number one advocate and big fan. But at first blush, I'm like, well, let's feel this out rather than just throwing him to the wolves.
Okay.
But I'm, like, priority one is I'd said I would arrest him once she fingered the guy. And so I'm going to.
Yeah, what it sounded, man.
So anyway, that's what I'll tell her. It's like, okay, well, where is he? I'm going to arrest him.
And she says, Lean Meat has a house in the Fisherman's Quarter in the Crab Caves and runs a weekly, although we've had it be whenever you guys go to see him, he runs a weekly game out of off of a gambling barge. Similarly, that usually meets at one of the docks in the Fisherman's Quarter.
Okay. Well, I will need to tell the other magistrates of my duty. Is there anything else in the investigation that still would like to share?
She says, that's what I was tasked with investigating from our Lord. She says, it would be foolish not to continue to look into to not look into why Yogo Asako would attempt to stop this investigation. But I've not been specifically tasked to do that by our Lord.
That's an awkward situation. The reason she's doing this in the first place is she kind of got like a dragon promotion over me.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be weird for me to ask her to do that.
How about the authority of an Emerald Magistrate? Would that be sufficient, Jatomen?
And she basically says to look into an obstruction of investigations. Absolutely. You can tell she seems fairly well versed with like kind of imperial law as well as like the law in general.
Well, it seems you are exceptionally equipped and motivated to deal with this, and it is a type of corruption that I would love to see uncovered more. And as you are aware, I am unfortunately much less skilled at. So consider this an official request from the magistrate. And I don't know if it's normal, but I'll offer her like a stipend to do that.
Ooh, this is definitely a manipulate role.
She said she wanted to do it.
Oh no, she said it would be a good thing to do.
Oh, okay.
But you're trying to get her to do this?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get her to do it.
Sure.
You're like, as you hand money, like...
I wasn't trying to bribe her. I was trying to thank her in the meager way that I was able. But okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Oof.
I got a 5.
A 5.
You guys are gonna level up so many times.
Oh, actually, right now. I hope she didn't misconstrue my offer.
Yeah. No, she'll say my task was to to uncover who was responsible for Miyamoto Ogai's murder, and that's what I've done. These additional complications are something that you're going to have to handle. There's not. Yeah.
Okay.
There's not a method by which I can do this within the law.
Understood.
And
I'll just keep this money for myself.
Can we deputize her?
I mean, if she wanted to be a deputy, yes.
We need to want people to do things. You can't just...
Yeah. So she's not interested.
But she did that for the dragon guy, not for us.
Yeah.
And she kind of essentially bids you guys good night. Taiyo, what are we up to?
Birthday time?
Sure. I'd like to wait for that if I can. Is there another? Yes. Let's wait for that one.
I don't know. Pass? Waiting for that.
Okay. Alright, well. Okay. So, let's say that the next day is the equivalent of
24 hours.
It's almost like a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It's a day that's more common for people to go to different temples and shrines than other days.
It's like the holy day.
Yeah,
Sure.
So it's not the only day where people do that. There's plenty of people that make that like a regular part of their every single day routine. There's other folks who almost kind of like twice a year Catholic style, like they go to this temple only during this festival and that's it. Mm-hmm. Or people who are wealthy enough might just have these like shrines in their house about middle of the day. Mm-hmm. You guys get a notice, or you get a message from the governor, from Shosuro Hyobu.
Great.
And says like, it invites you to the palace and says like that she needs to speak with you.
Let's go.
Who is you?
I think it's all of us, right?
Yes, yeah, it's addressed to the to the Emerald Magistrates.
One of it.
All right.
This will be the first time I go there.
First time?
Okay. Yeah, there's a chance off screen you've met with her, but
Maybe.
okay.
Maybe not that
So the Shosuro Palace is the Shosuro Palace is the largest structure in Rokugan. It is not the tallest single building. That's the Temple of Daikoku, but it is like the largest structure. Certainly in the Noble Quarter, it's by far the largest structure. Yeah. The bottom part of it are kind of these stout walls where it's much more a fortress, and then up at the top, it's much more kind of the palacey part. There's lots of Thunder Guard there, and you guys hadn't been seeing as many Thunder Guard in the city, and now there seem like there are more about. Obviously, there's going to be more than usual in the palace. But there seems like there's even more about, and even on the streets, you see that there's more Thunder Guard.
Like today?
About. Yes.
Like as compared to previous weeks, like
as opposed to the last couple days.
Throughout the city.
So, and you know that a lot of them were out in those fields. And now it seems like there's a lot more in the city.
So they found whatever they were looking for.
So, something's certainly up.
Oh no.
And, okay.
Somewhere.
So, you guys are brought into a waiting room, and then pretty quickly, no, you're not brought into a waiting room, you're brought straight into a meeting room with her.
Damn.
With Shosuro Hayabu. The governor is there. Jocho is not there.
I'll shoot you also.
So,
that's that boy for a favor at some point. Anyway.
Yeah. There's Thunder Guard in there with her for sure. But she's, again, a woman in her probably 60s. She wears that kind of like gauzy, thin veil mask. She has her hair up and kind of done very properly. And she welcomes you in, and she says, "Thank you so much for coming on short notice. I apologize. I apologize that this was so rushed, but it seems as though... But the information I have is fairly urgent. Or she'll say the request I have is fairly urgent. So, again, if this was a cartoon, she would be voiced by Angelica Houston. So, Morticia from the Addams Family.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
There we go.
I don't know. I kind of just brought back to it. Like,
So,
I don't work like that.
you're good. I try to think of like a voice. So she has this kind of like older voice, but
Still a little spry.
kind of like I almost thought that her voice might be done by Susan Sarandon, but I think that doesn't mean anything to you either. So she'll kind of like have everybody come in, and she'll have you sit down, but it's rather rushed. Whereas normally with her, you had like kind of waited to be seated. You usually came in, and there was a very formal setting. This seems much more kind of on the go.
Since her son's not here, is it like a bunch of guards still, or what?
There are still definitely guards in the room with you guys and her, but Jocho just is not here, and you probably have not met her without Jocho.
But now he's missing.
Now he's not in the room.
Yeah, boy's dead.
And she says, "I hate to involve outsiders in what is a family affair, but when someone has become unreasonable and you can no longer look solely to family to make sure they don't do something terrible, others have to get involved." She says, "I need your assistance in dealing with what would otherwise be a family matter."
We will do our best to be of the utmost.
She says, "Bayushi Korechika has kidnapped my daughter, Kimi. I need her brought back. I would obviously be very appreciative to whomever could bring her back."
That strikes me as odd. But
Where's your son?
And she says, "He's at the Bayushi estate to make sure that his sister is returned home."
What do you believe is the reason your daughter was kidnapped?
And she says, "As I've said, I believe Bayushi Korechika's recent,
Hissy fit.
I believe Bayushi Korechika's recent misfortunes have struck his family rather hard, and that this has made him somewhat unreasonable, to say the least. I believe that he's lashing out, and I simply need to make sure that my daughter is safe."
Where was your daughter when she was taken?
She was kidnapped by some of his retainers from one of the temples this morning.
Do you know which temple?
This one. She was at this temple.
Because I can go there and use a fancy move. So.
what an insult to this temple's god.
And that.
Yep, she was at the temple.
At
the one.
Yes.
We know which one. Yeah.
The one.
So, I think it probably was a smaller one than the Temple of Daikoku, but it was still a...
She seemed...
Ooh, go ahead and roll your bones.
Yeah.
Put your bones all over her. No, don't do that.
I'll do it.
You'll do it.
You will roll poorly. It will be good time.
Well, maybe
Yes.
Say again?
Maybe you should have. Still 7.
Yours is +2 or +3?
2.
Oh, yeah, 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. You got it. All right. Does she seem to be telling the truth?
Yeah.
Yes. And she'll say, she'll say Jocho is at the Bayushi estate presently. Basically, if you were wondering about like which temple, because I can go there and figure out where they are, she says she knows where they are. She's being held at the Bayushi estate. So she needs her safely returned home
And Jojo's just like camped out there?
Yes.
What do you believe we will be able to do that you are unable to do on your own?
Oh, I think she basically says, she'll basically say family squabbles can get ugly. If he's being unreasonable, perhaps someone from outside the family can reason with him.
Has he made any sort of demand on you?
So,
What does he hope to accomplish?
she says, again, he's being unreasonable here. I don't know what he truly hopes to accomplish with this.
And he hasn't asked you?
So, yeah.
I'm just gonna ask him, grilling this lady about this boy's.
Yeah, well, so she'll say, I need you to go there, speak with him, get Kimmy safe with her family again. I'll be very appreciative of it.
Understood.
Why not have Yogo Osako handle this?
I would prefer if as symbols of the Emperor's justice, you handled this. It would be, this is my daughter after all that I'm doing.
So, a while ago, what's his name took control of all of my men, or 3 of the men that were at the caves from me?
I think he took control. At least on camera, we haven't seen you deal with that yet, but he said, those are my guys now.
Yeah.
Those are the ones who went.
I assumed it was just the ones at the cave, because that's...
Or what about the ones who stayed?
Yeah, because
in
that's,
other
literally
little town?
who he talked about, and who we were talking about. But anyway, with that,
Okay, I guess we're doing that thing, right?
that's my plan. Unless, is there a reason why we shouldn't? I'm assuming, okay. Have we left? Do you guys have any more pressing questions for the governor?
Can't think of any.
Alright, so, I think when we leave, now's the time to discuss that. Should we?
Help? We have to.
Do you have reservations, Taiyo? Why? That's really what I want to get at. Why? What is the issue? What is the matter?
I know Korechika's been unhinged, but it doesn't seem within his character to just kidnap someone without reason.
Well, I don't want to go there and lay sword to sword against him and his men. I just want to go there and talk. I think that's...
No, I
think we are the more peaceful solution to this than the governor or her men could ever be.
Yeah, I think you misunderstand. Like we were talking before, you have evidence that she's maybe corrupt, and I think she didn't seem to be as forthright as someone whose daughter is being held against their will would have been to the potential heroes that she's recruiting. I feel, and it, especially since what she's told us went against what I feel I know about my cousin, so I'm just wary about what's going on.
The governor's crimes aside, this girl may need help from somebody, and some of us might have bad karma we need cleared.
Especially with someone's wife.
What?
Because you're not going to be spending it with her. Remember?
That's the scene where this is the scene where Mel Gibson looks to Danny Glover and he's like, looks like you're not making it home for time for dinner. That's what that scene was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yes.
All right.
That's what that
I
line
was
was.
looking for deeper. Okay.
I overheard your squabbling when I was waiting.
There's no need to mask your own darkness with my personal
Oh my
life.
god, there's a lot of...
Well, yeah, what does that,
A lot
what
of
does that
sense
mean?
going on. Did something happen? Did you tell us already, or what? They told anybody?
Is that time for this?
We always got time for this.
Yes, something did happen.
What happened? This
There's a investigation for another time.
is when Ugrey gets killed, and then we never know.
I've written it all down in poem form in
Oh,
my journal.
okay, we're good.
Remember, I'm
worse.
keeping a poetry journal
I
that
forgot about the poetry
it
journal.
encrypts all of my...
I did forget about the poetry journal. That's on me.
If Dad, please read.
It's just this stack of poems.
It's a strange title for a book of poetry. I like it.
All right. I just failed to see what she could gain from having us go and talk to Bayushi, Korechika. Perhaps I am missing something, but I think at the very least, I don't think we'll be putting your cousin into jeopardy.
It seems like we're being set up to have him implicated, and I'm trying to figure out the angle here. But no, we have to do it no matter what. Like I said, I'm not saying we shouldn't do this. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
I understand.
Seems like there's...
I'm not quite sure what's going on in there, to be honest.
Would do you think you were saying crazy powers? Do you think we should go to this temple first and see what maybe the kami can tell you what actually happened?
I fear that doing so could cost time that may be valuable.
Well, if Jocho's there watching over it, it doesn't seem like she's in immediate danger, but we shouldn't delay too long, but this
And I'm
might
happy
be better.
to do that. Maybe if someone goes and attends to the scene.
It is, it's a busy day in the temple district. It could be quite a waste of it could take quite a long time.
So as you guys are talking, there's also like
The governor's just like, oh, do you need more time?
no,
She's
you guys have left, but
That
there's
was
like
the joke.
there are Thunder Guard who are essentially like nearby. Like you know where you're going. That's not tough. But they're Thunder Guard who are basically kind of like, let's move, let's mosey, let's kind of go.
Walking this whole time was my point. Mm-hmm. We haven't been just like, hey, let's just.
Just as a heads up, there are other people around who like. So if you were to be like, actually, we're going to go on the thing, there would be others going, what the hell are they doing?
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
I didn't do my move for my ally spirit.
We have so many start of day moves. It's too much. Oh, this game is spiraled out of
A
control.
fancy power might help.
I realized we
roll your
forgot to
dice
do
out,
our little things too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. 8 means...
Oh, an 8. Okay, I thought you got...
Yeah.
I thought you rolled...
This boy has a
Yes,
million
plus,
void.
plus blessed.
Blessed.
So you rolled a 6 plus 2 is 8.
Either you choose the element and it will do the rank 3 thing, or I choose the element and it will do rank 2. I guess I'll just take the rank 2 of air to hear voices of people who were somewhere recently
Right.
for the day.
Okay, so you can hear that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the idea that maybe you guys can go to the scene and I'll go to a temple, or we could split 2 and 2 or something like that, and I'll...
I think it'd be best if we went off.
Korechika's house is heavily guarded.
I assume we'll be let in, but
Last time I was there, he had many guards.
no, I understand. I wrote it down in a note. I think we all ought to go as 4 to this place. At the very least, I mean, these men around us will report back to the governor on what we do, and I think the governor would view it perhaps more kindly if we all went to rescue her daughter instead of went to check out the story. I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to be angering somebody in such a trying time. I don't think she needs to be like.
The governor would be happy with us doing exactly what she asked, but if she's truly corrupt, it's up to us to uncover it, not up to us to do her every whim.
I think if you can hear voices of people in the past, it'll be far more useful where, what's his name is. What's the...
But there's a crime that we know has been committed, and it will behoove us none for me to learn more of that crime. It's the crimes that we don't know we need to learn more of.
Did we all know that boat that burned was Bayushi's, or was that a secret that I knew? I forgot.
On screen, at least, it's definitely something you knew.
Right.
And I don't know if nobody else looked into it specifically. The House of Bayushi Korechika is a large, traditional Rokugani estate. 3 stories tall, the foundation is made of stone and thick wooden beams hold up the rest of the building. Bayushi retainers can be seen occasionally looking down from windows and balconies. Each is armed with a bow and keeps their trained eye on their would-be besiegers. Outside, the Thunder Guard, perhaps 3 dozen in all, surround the building. Jocho, mounted on a fine unicorn stallion, speaks with another officer. Though it is the middle of the day, the Thunder Guard have braziers of burning coals set near their positions, and leaning against each of those, bows and Tau-tipped arrows. The men and women of the Thunder Guard, whom you've so often seen shirk duties, take bribes, and make exceptions, seem much more serious, much more severe than usual. A stark contrast with their leader, who sits easy in his saddle and even smiles as he speaks with his subordinates. So, this is the scene that you guys sit here, and you can hear the Thunder Guard talking about how just they've been given orders that if anything happens to Kimmy, they just burn the house down, and just everybody in the house dies. So if anything happens to Kimmy, they just literally just light this house on fire.
At least we know it now.
Yeah, and they'll talk about that stuff and kind of like, again, you guys have encountered the Thunder Guard a lot. Oftentimes, they're they seem much more serious and severe than normal, than other times you've encountered them. You've encountered them in this fairly spooked state before.
Yeah, I've seen them
but
fucked up.
usually you guys, when you encounter the Thunder Guard, they're like laid back cops who are maybe on the take kind of a thing. That's not what's going on right now.
I would say death on that.
Yeah, but you guys arrive and Jocho greets you. And he's like, "Oh, magistrates.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad my mother asked you to come here. Korechika has kidnapped my sister. She's inside, along with at least 15 to 20 retainers of Korechika's.
You say he seemed lean.
He seems laid back,
Sure.
yeah, which is like in stark contrast to the Thunder Guard, who normally seem that way, seem spooked and freaked out. He doesn't seem fazed by this.
Where's Otato?
And he says, Otato seems to be inside as well.
Alright, well, I want to read him.
Go for it.
Man, I was supposed to say. I was like saying the words too.
What do we get? 9. Ask your question.
Who wants a new horse?
Yeah, and the horse that he's on is one of those like unicorn horses, by the way. So it's huge. It's one of the fire stallions from Krull.
Well, I want to know what he intends to do.
What does he intend to do?
I mean, he's so laid back.
So, here's how this comes out. He is going to get his sister out of here.
He's not worried about it.
Yeah, and he'll bring this up as you're talking about this. He's going to get his sister out of here. He'll tell you guys that if Korechika doesn't let you in, his mother can sign basically an order of appearance, an arrest warrant for him, and Korechika can be like completely within the law, arrested and tortured, and for all this, like, so basically like to get a confession about this and any other crime. So he's like, you're gonna get in there, we're gonna get my sister back. So he's very convinced that is going to occur.
Ugrey will ask him if he's not concerned about any violence toward his sister.
And he says, and he just says, well, and he says, hopefully you can reason with him to make sure that that isn't an issue.
Well, that's what we're here to do.
Guess the entrance.
All right. So you guys get up to the entrance, and I think for the most part there are. Whereas Aji, you had seen this place before, and there were guards outside. At present, there aren't guards outside, but when you approach the entrance, that servant comes up to the door.
The super servant?
Yeah, he's very good at his job, and he's like,
We're busy.
he kind of just says like, oh my lords, please, and this is not the common thing that you would say to someone. Like the common thing is, oh, my master's not home right now. But if you want to leave a message for him, he'll get back. He'll basically like, oh, I'll have him contact you as soon as he gets back. Like that is kind of the go-to standard thing in Rokugan. This guy is like, my master. We can't take any meetings. I'm sorry. You can figure out for sure. He's talking mostly to you, this servant. So he's telling it to everybody, but he's kind of like. We can't meet with anybody. Like, can't meet with anyone.
Is there a good way?
Is there a good way into this place?
I think I'm kind of just going to...
Sounds like you're reading the situation.
Yeah.
I was just going to threaten him with violence.
Oh, yeah. What?
I'm just coming up with good words to do it in a threatening voice, too.
Well, I want to know why he thinks that's best for everybody.
8.
8?
Well, now I'm going to get that.
So what's your best way in?
Go.
Bayushi Korechika is kind of a big deal. He is very, very wealthy. He is connected, obviously, as the part of the Bayushi family. This is a Scorpion city. He's got a bunch of people here. He has always kind of viewed himself a little bit as above the law, and from the position that he has, he kind of is. If there was really the possibility that he would absolutely be arrested, even let alone that this whole house would burn down and his family, burned to death.
Right.
But even if things went legally, the idea that he could be arrested and dragged in and tortured till he confesses to whatever, that issue might have escaped his notice. Because again, he's kind of been above the law through the whole time he's operated, and now all of a sudden, that might not be the case. So bringing that up might be
Yeah.
So threaten them.
Yeah. So I might go to Ishi and say like, I don't think he.
Realizes the trouble is in?
My cousin understands the weight of the situation outside. Could you explain to servant?
Yeah,
I'll explain with my sword.
you will let us in right now, or you will not live to regret. Your master, if he does not let us fix his mistake, will be strung from the racks until his death.
Hold on.
I'll smack the shit out of this boy. I'm prepared.
Would you like to leave a message? They're very busy.
So,
So I've gotten to intimidate.
right. I'm just trying to see.
I think I ticked on the threatening. I threatened his life. Also
Yeah.
threatened his master's life. I think and I gave him what I wanted to do. I think that's like all the things I needed.
What? The stays in Vegas?
Yeah.
What happened in Vegas City?
I just don't want to have you make a roll that's like ends up being. I mean, it all depends on how it goes. Like ends up being not useful in this situation.
I mean, the information could just be enough. Because I did tell him that his master will be tortured until he's dead.
Okay, and
That's what I said.
yeah.
He's strung from the racks.
You're not personally threatening, man.
Go ahead and make a roll,
Right,
but do this as a manipulate roll.
What? I specifically threatened violence. Specifically. It's still an 8, but it could have been a 10 if I was threatening violence.
So
But you were.
Which I was.
yeah.
There's a lot of violence.
So you say this, and this person is like real wary about what message to bring back. Is there anything concrete you can assure him or tell him before he goes back in with this message of what to do?
Like, we will be forced to bring the law down on him.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys bring up that issue of orders of appearance, of like, I think he'll.
I'll say something.
This guy. I think this servant is still kind of like you're like being very threatening, and he's just kind of like I blah blah blah. And I think actually Bayushi Otato comes down to the door and kind of like motions for you guys to come in.
There we go.
At least I still have to threaten him. It's always right in the way.
Yeah. And
We'll call it a 10.
We'll call it a 10.
So inside, somewhere on like the second story of the house, and again, this place is opulent. This place is crazily nice.
I was here once. I think. I did follow up once.
I don't know if you were.
I thought I did because I found out that the horses are here, and I came and I was like, "Hey, yo, where's your son and his friend?" And he was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "All right." And I left. And then I didn't remember that the next session we played, and that's why I didn't ever follow up.
Okay. But yeah, this house. This house is like equivalent to like the Ide residence, where it's like very, very big and extremely opulent. Like this guy obviously has a lot of money, and as you come in, there's like Jocho had the numbers about right. There's like 15 to 20 or so of these armed retainers inside. All of them are like Scorpion Samurai. On the second story, you can also see that there are some archers that are kind of like hanging around near some of these windows.
So
as part of that, like 15 or 20.
So it's not really. It's a lot.
And then outside, there's 3 dozen Thunder Guard. You said
right, but you know the Thunder Guard as a whole is like
infinite.
300 people.
Infinite amount.
So yeah,
really.
So just like directly surrounding this, we're about 3 dozen.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bunch of fire archers with fire.
So inside, Korechika and Otato are there with a few of the other retainers, and
what's Otato up to?
Otato is just kind of brooding like he often is. And he looks at you and he looks at these guys and he says, This is a family matter, gentlemen. And again, if cigarettes existed in this world, he would just be smoking a bunch.
Where's your father?
Oh, Korechika's in the room with you guys.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's the one who was just talking to him.
Oh, he's the one who said.
Yeah, who just said that this is a family matter.
So there's some men who look like they could have cigarettes in their mouth. I couldn't tell the difference between them.
Yeah. Sorry.
And they had to take their whole mask off to do Scorpion's heart to smoke. I wish it were that simple. It's quickly, whatever's going on here is quickly spiraling out of control. Seeing what's going on outside, the governor sent us here personally.
So when we come in, just to pause that for a second, am I able to hear anything of the recent conversation from my air familiar?
It's real good. It's real.
I'll leave it to your discretion about what the spirits are able to convey.
You should be a rumor monger.
Sure. So you've been able to hear that there's been a discussion that a lot of discussion about Hyobu making her move, and that this is insurance to make sure we're not next.
Oof, that's good.
So there's a lot of talk about that. And
Write a poem real quick.
yeah. And he basically says he basically says Kimmy's here for her protection.
What do you mean by that?
So he says there's been a whole lot of trouble in the streets and out even in the fields. I'm just making sure that my niece, and he uses some term probably for niece that indicates he's not literally, their blood relation is negligible in any capacity. But he's referred to Kimmy as Otado's cousin before.
Mm-hmm. Were they engaged or something?
No, Kimmy is engaged to somebody from the Ide family. She was engaged initially to the guy who OD'd on opium, and then now she's engaged to his younger brother. And so he'll say, there's been a lot of unrest. I need to make sure that my niece is safe in these times. It's trying after all. She's a nice girl, he says, but
outside, it seems like you brought the danger to the house.
I think I'm gonna jump in and say, yes, the danger you brought is much more than the or any assurance you might feel you've created for yourself against. And who was it? Somebody's next move?
It's the governor's next move.
Yeah, I'll just say, you brought more danger, not protection from, and I'm gonna try to quote it as verbatim as I heard it, to spook them a little bit.
okay.
Way to ramp up the spooky factor. I like it.
Basically that's everything I learned, and now I kind of say it out loud so my allies hear it as well.
Go ahead and make a manipulate roll. Kind of sounds like what you're doing. You want him to listen to you and think that he's made a mistake here.
Right.
A spooky roll. So
Not a bad thing. You got 8 plus 9.
You spooked the hell out
I
of him.
leveled up my elegant to +1 earlier.
Okay. So you're going to have to make him some kind of concrete assurance.
How about the tar-tipped arrows outside?
You have to give him some kind of concrete assurance.
Yeah, none of those are mine.
The tar-tipped arrows and said, look at that shit. That doesn't fuck you up?
I feel like we're doing this as a group, so maybe someone else would jump in with the concrete assurance. I don't know.
What are you trying to get him to do?
We're all trying to get him to back down, right? I was just warning him of the danger that he's brought upon himself.
The governess is already threatened. What is it called? An appearance?
An order of appearance, yeah.
The governess has already threatened utilizing an order of appearance.
Well, my goal is to get him to understand the situation he's put himself in. So I'm not necessarily trying to get him to back down right now.
No, it's not what I want. I just want him to understand.
But just first, let's get on the same page here about what the situation is. So I almost want to say my assurance for him to understand his situation is just looking out the window. I'm not providing it, but
Yeah, I don't know how much you want to tip your hat, but one thing you could do is that you could reveal that we know the governor's corrupt. It's kind of we're on your side in this situation.
That's true. So I said I did say this isn't going to protect you from her next move. We know that she has machinations in motion, and this isn't the way to protect yourself from them.
All right, look. If we do not leave here with Kimmy, your house is going to get burnt down by JoJo. Understand? Once we leave this house, you are no longer protected.
And I think he just says, like, I think he'll just bring up let's say that you had said that earlier, because that's going to muddy the waters with this. But if you had said that earlier, he says, like, you came in and that was your line that you kind of made, and his response is, like if I were you, I'd keep my nose out of where it doesn't belong, or it might end up getting broken. And so he's just like, yeah, he's just kind of
in reaction to that there's like fire out there?
Right, when he says that. Again, if we're trying to have him kind of calm the situation down, I think that doesn't like help the situation much.
Oh, I see.
So I'm just using that kind of for flavor of like, you come in and it's tense and he doesn't really want to talk to you. You are trying to get him to more get on the same page with you.
Yeah.
The thing that you're trying to offer up is that you know that the governor is corrupt. And will you use those terms, or do you just keep saying, like, oh, you're in a lot of danger?
I didn't use those terms exactly, but I hinted strongly. Like, I acknowledged that there is a next move that she's going to make. Like, I heard him say, they're protecting themselves from her next
Let's
move.
have you do this a little bit backwards. Go ahead and make a read a person roll.
Okay.
You can bring up Soshi Ryoko.
Oh, that one's a 6.
6. Okay.
Can he benefit from my read a situation earlier by getting a +1?
Sure. I'd say from his either from that or from his own role that he got that, where he basically was able to read a situation through that. Sure. So if that's a 7, what's your question?
Oh, boy. I didn't even decide to make this move.
This was thrust upon me.
I'm doing this just because at the moment you're kind of in a situation where you're like, what does this guy want as this assurance? And you're kind of just showing him stuff that's...
What does he wish I would do?
2 things. He wants you guys to... He'll go on this thing of like how he's like, my son has been accused of being a thief. I have been accused of being a criminal. Like Hyobu has attacked my family, and he needs 2 things. 1, he needs you guys to put in writing that neither he nor Otato did anything wrong.
Oh.
He wants that. Like, he just basically wants, like, oh, the Emerald Magistrates say I didn't do anything wrong, and neither did my son. And then he wants you to, he needs Hyobu to agree to end the stupid struggle she started.
City of Lies is Toan as Kakita Aji, Branden as Hida Ishi, David as Bayushi Taiyo, Andrew as Agasha Yugure, and Austin as your game master. The theme music for City of Lies is Mission of Danger by Lobo Loco. Additional music for this episode includes Quaalude by Cowpay. The intro was read by Scott. This American Dice Ryoko Owari City of Lies uses the City of Lies box set by Greg Stolz, published by Alderac Entertainment Group. The mechanics used is a modified PBTA system by Brendan Taylor of Galileo Games. Join us next time for more This American Dice.